Right, what about, you referenced earlier, obviously I want to talk about BDS, but here's how I want to set this up. It's so crazy the way like certain storylines just repeat. Because bro, I've seen this story before. Remember last year, BDS was one of the best teams in Europe for the first two sort of splits or so. Like they're really getting it together, they were growing in power. They reached their zenith. You were hoping, hey, let's see them go to, and then in some of they sort of went down a bit. And then by the time they got to Worlds, a lot of the sort of power and the potency was gone. Bro, I feel like it's the same story because like, on the one hand, right, on all my shows, I keep saying this, I'll give them a backhanded compliment. I actually think this entire playoff run for BDS so far, in a fucked up way, shows there are some really, really core strengths to this team, because I actually think they've played every single series poorly, Sabatine. Even that opening one against fucking, who was it, GX they played? Was it GX they played?
It was GX yesterday. The first one was versus MDK.
MDK was the upper bracket one. GX was, yeah, that's right. And then obviously they were trash against G2. Right? I actually think they haven't looked good in any of these matches, mate. They've looked really whack. They haven't even been able to get like ahead. They've had loads of times where they were looking just poor. Even some of the draft choices were weird, but they still win the series, except for the G2 one. They weren't supposed to. They're still winning the series. Like, the problem is, obviously, this isn't peak BDS. It's like you alluded to. If you want peak BDS, you probably go last split or the first one, you know. So give me some thoughts, because I still feel like in such a messy league, dude, they don't have to get too much more together. If they just improve by 10% and get somewhere closer to what they were before, right now, if G2 is going to be like this, dude, the chance to win is right there. Like, even as you say, if they play Fnatic, everyone will give Fnatic the edge. Dude, they could beat Fnatic. They've almost done it a whole bunch of times. Like, I've always thought they were right there. Maybe it was nerves, whatever, in the past. I think Nuke maybe did fall apart in that last series they played. Give me some thoughts, because I actually feel like even though people understandably, justifiably are down on BDS, like, the potential is still there to be good. Come on.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I am not on the side of people who say they can't be good. I'm trying to be optimist for every single player and team. I feel like it's possible. If I were to be a league doctor and it was like, what's happening to me? I would say the symptoms are support underperforming.
That's true.
You see the engages are not as sharp as they used to be. You see that like Labrov choices for champion has been pretty weird. There was this game with Blitzcrank. Like, I don't think he won that game, but I don't think it was a great Blitzcrank game. So you see like it's a symptom of a player that's like, pick me my comfort. I need my champion.
Yeah.
I think one of the reasons they get taken on objectives is because the vision hasn't been set up the same way. I think that Sheo as well on some champion hasn't been as good, but I would say overall, Labrov has really looked like 2022, 2021 Labrov. And I thought he was like it was something from the past. Looking at him in January, you know, everybody was like, Labrov is really good. And I was like, I'm skeptical, guys, because over the years, he hasn't shown very like consistency. Yeah. And then Winter Split played amazing, good vision, good contest. Spring Split, amazing. I think he was one of the best supports in the league. Right now, I think Labrov is nowhere near like a top support. And if you look at like the 1-1 versus Alvaro in the series in MDK, wasn't anywhere great.
No.
Against G2, Mikix took the best of them. I think that Ignar played pretty well the series yesterday against him. So it's not like support is not a 1-on-1, but it's like the ability to establish a space for your team to play on. And BDS feels very random, and I think that's kind of like everything that happens to BDS, because you see that Nuke has been playing amazing with his Tristana. You see that Ice is on his meta, right? He's a hyper carry player. I think there is an argument for Adam not feeling very comfortable in early game. I would say that's probably the second narrative, but the biggest thing is support. And I take you back to 2016, right? I always take this example. You take like this Splice team that was led by Yamato Cannon, where he has Nisbet and went to the relegations and then changed for Mickey X and went to Worlds. And it was only one player change. So you clearly see that like when your support is not performing, whether it's confidence, whether it's like just systems, you know, just good habits, like the hygiene of playing at a high level is lost, the whole team kind of like crumbles apart because there is no information you can base yourself upon to actually make a play. So you start playing less proactive and your opponent takes way more space on the map and you end up flipping objectives. And you've seen clearly BDS doing what MDK, SK, all these like heretics, bad teams do, which is like, guys, it's 27, let's go to Baron and pray. And that's not the way they won. And everybody looks way more average when you don't have a good support.
Yeah, I think that's interesting because I would definitely agree on the Lavrov point. I think what you're seeing now in like the absence of some of those qualities is why when this team was on top, Lavrov probably was their MVP. Like he not only was mega as a support, like you say, he'd find the picks in the game. So for people like Ice, he was just cleaning up team fights. And then also he was doing all the vision game. He's actually been pretty good at that for like 2 years now in the squad. So no, I think what you see is when that player isn't there, this team's like half as good, mate. And I'm also with you. I'll agree on the Nook point because I always used to say in the past, one of the reasons why I was always out on Nook a little bit is because it just looked like in the past, it wasn't Nook you looked at. What you looked at is Shio, and if Shio was doing well, Nook's usually doing well. It was like, right, well, that explains that. Actually, Shio's not even that good at the moment. I actually think it's a pretty bad meta for him, mate. If you go look at the stuff he's trying to pick, like, it actually looks like Shio and Adam are both really lost in this like pool. They're not only themselves either not very good on the meta champions, or they're just trying like slightly off. Like, dude, go and look at the last 6 or 7 champions Adam has picked. It's like, bro, who is this player? Like, he's not picking the gods champions, and he can't go to the normal shit. Like, it's not like he's just spamming Renekton or something. Like, this is a guy where he's going like Dr. Mundo one game into Malphite in another, into a Rumble game, into a. It's like, I don't know, mate. Like, this just not only is it not working for you, but also. Remember, one of the things about Adam's style, which I always say, I don't think he intentionally did this, Zabatine. I think this is where the coaching staff is very shrewd, is they understood that concept that, unfortunately, people on Reddit who play solo queue can never understand, which is if Adam goes in the side lane and he's farming a side lane all greedy, and then, again, if this was like Adam knew, he'd be like, I'm going to tactically trade my death to draw enough people up. Now, I don't believe he's doing that, Zabatine. I think he just gets caught and 3 people come and kill him. But, obviously, the point of that is if you do it in the right circumstances, that's still a win for your team and you can play off that. That's not even a factor nowadays. Like nowadays, he just looks like he overextends. He gets caught. He's just not that powerful a player. And the problem with him before was he was kind of the guy who put you over the top when BDS was really good because he had these weird picks that warped the meta. People were really scared of what you pick into him. He would actually have usually in a best of 5 or best of 3, he'd have 1 or 2 games where he just himself won you the game or had like a really brilliant performance. I haven't seen that guy for a while this split, mate. And so when you think about all the players we're talking about, you only really have Nuke and Ice that are left that are playing well. And by the way, I definitely agree on the Ice one. That's one thing, again, I'll give props to the BDS coaching staff. Dude, I thought they had completely sort of, in English you say, gotten high on their own supply. Like they were believing their own hype, Zabatine, when they benched Crownie and brought in Ice. Because remember, it was okay at first because they just played to Adam, didn't they? So it was like, well, Crownie wouldn't have liked that anyway. Then the next split, when they were arguing at their best, all Ice did is do a perfect impression of Crown Shot, but without the throws and with no attitude. And I was like, holy fuck, dude, Striker and whoever they are, and whoever did this in BDS, you are a genius. Like, you were completely right and we were all wrong. Like, you actually did get a random Korean player who's just like a perfect plug-in player and just does everything you want. And he is, and by the way, what a consistent player that guy is. I feel like it doesn't matter whether BDS plays well or plays badly. The Ice guy just plays. He actually just lives up to the like cold as ice sort of vibe. The guy's just a fucking baller, mate. He's never going to be the best ADC, but I tell you what, his floor is crazy good, mate. This guy's just what a great workhorse player.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of respect for the BDS staff overall. I think they have made pretty hard, and I would say even above the coaching staff, I think BDS as an organization in terms of sports, whether it has been on Rocket League, it's been on like, I don't know all the games, right, as well, but I think they're good in like Air6 as well. BDS made pretty drastic choices that you have seen.
By the way, he meant Rainbow Six there when he said that. The problem is with that French accent, it sounded like you said air sex, which like you meant R6.
Bad,
Rainbow Six, yes. Okay.
Sorry,
just sounded a bit crazy. It's all good.
But yeah, Rainbow Six. I feel like BDS made pretty drastic changes, splitting the coaching staff, letting go of go to one, keeping Striker, bringing Ice in. And everything paid off, and I think their academy is probably the best CRL team of all time. Like, there is an argument for it, at least. So when you have the best academy, and you're still, like, although they're pretty bad currently, they're still, like, in the top 5, right, of the current split. It shows that, like, they have a pretty good understanding of what they're doing. And yeah, Ice is definitely... I think Ice is there is the discussion that Ice is better than Noah.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
There is a discussion for it that's pretty clear to me. I think the ADCs are never really well represented because they are like depending on the system of the team.
Sure.
Example is Karzi. Everybody knows he's one of the best ADCs in the league. And he has been not even qualified for playoffs.
No, exactly.
but at least he's consistent, meaning that if he is on like Zeri or Aphelios or Jinx or something like this, he's going to deliver in team fights. Positioning is always like very, very clear. Usage of summoners is really good. And he doesn't play too fearful, which is something sometimes I complain about when you speak about Upset or I speak about Patrick. They start to, be frightened because the team fight is not just like he sees these opportunities to actually flip a team fight. The best example is the game 3 against GX 2 days or yesterday, where the team fight was actually lost. Shio died immediately with Talia, and he was able to clutch a 2v5 with Nuke or 2v4, and they actually won the game out of that. So I think he's really good. But as you said, that's clear that Shio is not as sharp as he used to be. But I think it's a jungle support thing, and I think it leans more on Labrov than Shio. And there is the case of Adam. So Adam historically was a Renekton kind of one trick in the LFL when he was playing in Carmine. So he can play the Renekton, and I'm kind of surprised they don't have a higher priority for that.
Especially because every other fucker in West picks it all the time now. So I'm amazed he hasn't tried it.
Yeah. But that's it, right? Like his Olaf, for instance, I think that when you're playing against the Antonio, which is arguably probably the player that has the most trouble in laning phase in the whole league, right? And you have this Rumble early game, and he didn't feel like they took over the game from the Rumble, and then he had this Olaf into a blind Ornn. So you know the guy is playing Ornn. You have the speciality of being the best Olaf in the region, and none of the impact of the Olaf has been seen throughout the game. I see him. There is a play where they're trying to contest the mid wave against GX, and he just runs through mid against Chuck for 80% of his life bar by the Lucian of Jackies. And I'm like, are you looking at the screen, bro? Or are you looking at the minimap, right? It's kind of weird because I know Adam is like able to produce better, but kind of on par with the rest of the team. It feels like they lost their League of Legends, and I'm very worried because of the whole chokers narrative. If there is one time of the year where they usually choke, it is right now, and all the signs, right, are converging towards a big fumble. Right now, like the Casey storyline, right? We're going to talk about it. The miracle storyline of Casey leading to BDS feels like BDS is not even the favorite anymore in this series.
See more cool, funny, interesting clips based on topics from my content? Well, subscribe to this channel then, or, be a pleb and don't.